pages as well. Our president is very much into sharing the wonderful information and resources that we have at Bloomfield College. And so we invite our extended family, really the world, right?
Yeah.
Really the world.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we have some great attendees, so let's begin.
Okay. So first, my name is Terrance Bankston. I'm the interim director for the Center for Student Leadership and Engagement. I am joined by my amazing and wonderful colleague, Ms. Lisa St.Hilaire, and she is the interim director for the Center for Career Development, and which we call CDC, and CSLE is CSLE. And we have Center for Student Leadership and Engagement, we call CSLE. So if you hear those terms flying around, you'll understand the connection. So this is one of our final webinars of the semester, and it was so nice we had to do it twice. We had our featured guest on campus a couple of months ago, thanks to the Center for Career Development, and I had the opportunity to just stop in, and I was blown away and not just inspired, but empowered. And so it is a pleasure to be able to do this webinar virtually for our virtual engagement experience. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa so she can formally introduce our guests.
Thank you very much, Terrance. Thank you, thank you. And thank you all for joining us tonight. I would like to introduce to you our guest speaker this evening. Dr. Jairo Borja, DBA, is the president of Borja Consulting Group and financial services professional with Primary Financial. He helps families and businesses build wealth, protect assets, and manages cash flow. Jairo assists with investments, estate strategies, retirement insurance, small business planning, strategy, and advice to small business owners. Dr. Borja has spoken at several Fortune 500 companies, including New York Life and Mass Mutual. He has spoken at First Calvary Baptist Church, our very own Bloomfield College, and the University of Central Florida. Jairo is an international best-selling author. Currently, he has a book out entitled Networking Your Way to Success, 10 Steps to Building Relationships and Expanding Your Business for Entrepreneurs and Working Professionals. His book discusses networking strategies and his 10 years of experience working in higher education. Dr. Borja is on the board of Pro Spanica, New Jersey chapter. He is executive vice president and also served as the treasurer. Before being treasurer, he was vice president of professional development, assisting with webinars and programming, such as speed networking to benefit Pro Spanica members. Dr. Borja is the co-liaison for ASIS International, New York City chapter, where he serves on the National Young Professionals Council. ASIS International is one of the largest organizations for security professionals to connect for the latest trends, certifications, workshops, monthly luncheons, and conferences throughout the world. Dr. Borja, DBA, received his Doctorate of Business Administration degree in marketing from Walden University in March of 2019. He also received his Master of Business Administration degree in management from Long Island University in May of 2007. Lastly, Dr. Borja received his Bachelor of Business Administration degree in management from Berkeley College in September of 2003. Dr. Borja, DBA, lives in Linden, New Jersey with his wife, Sophia, daughter, Emma, and his stepdaughter, Emily. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Jairo Borja.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Give me 1 second, everybody. Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so thank you for having me here tonight once again. It's last time I spoke about some of the tips as far as networking on site, and we all had to pivot with what's going on and be able to now network virtually using LinkedIn. So it's actually going to be slightly different, my presentation tonight, as opposed to a couple of months ago. at Bloomfield College. So thank you for having me. Thank you, Lisa, for the introduction. As you know, I am a financial services professional, primary financial, helping small businesses and families when it comes to full-fledged financial planning, which includes protection, helping out with protection, savings, growth, and debt. Also, I am the president of Borja Consulting Group, as Lisa mentioned, where where I help small businesses with training and development and coaching and strategy and small business planning. And I'm also adjunct instructor with ASA College and Long Island Business Institute, where I teach marketing and business. And lastly, as you mentioned, I'm the EVP for Prosponic New Jersey, where we have professional development, scholarships, and try to make the connection for in order for Hispanic MBAs and all professionals for that matter, from minorities get into the C-suite. So thank you for having me. Appreciate it. So the agenda is a couple of tips using LinkedIn. Whether it's introductions, giving kudos, recommendations, endorsements, commenting on posts and why that's important, video messaging, alum events, groups and thought leadership, right? So as far as making introductions, you can have the client and or one of your first connections make that connection. For example, let's say if Lisa was looking for a job, and let's say she comes to me, she could go through my LinkedIn profile and look at, hey, introduce me to 3 to 4 people looking for work. We'd be more than happy to make that introduction. And this way, Lisa has, let's say, 3 new contacts, 3 or 4 new connections that she could connect with me, right? If she does that, let's say 3 times 5, like let's say 5 contacts a day, a week, 3 times 5, that's like 15 new contacts that she could engage with, and therefore expand her network per se, right? And I'll discuss that on the next slide. So for example, let's say hypothetically, right? Let's say if she just recently connects with me on LinkedIn, this is some of the verbiage. Dear Jairo, thank you for connecting with me. I noticed that there's a couple of professionals that we could connect with. But do you mind making that introduction? And then all she would have to do is say, here, Colleen, by way of this email, I want to introduce you to Jairo. He's been specializes with small business planning for over a few years, and he's a valuable resource, and I know him for a good time. He's a good guy, definitely worth connecting with. So right then and there, even if we do it vice versa, she could introduce me to 3 to 4 people, and if I was to go through her profile and Terrance's profile, any other of your profiles, let's say the 9 that are here. So if you introduce me to 3 people tonight, all 9 plus the ones on Facebook, 20 times 60 new names that I could connect with when it comes to introduction, whether it's for business and even if you're looking for work. And I'll discuss this later when it comes to making that connection, when it comes to connecting with alum, right? So perfect, easy script that I got on the financial side that you could use on for yourselves, right? So as far as kudos, giving props to individuals, this is the actual screenshot of how to do it. When you go on a home page, when you comment, you could, instead of creating a post, you could create kudos. You go there, you celebrate a teammate, you share that you're hiring, or you hit that plus sign, add a hashtag, right? You could welcome a teammate and give kudos. This is great because number 1, it serves as you're a team player, and 2, it's all about relevancy over. We'll see it later on. As far as it's all about being able to promote that you're a team player, and it's all about the algorithms about in a few minutes, right? It's all about creating content that's relevant, which you could use hashtags, etc. Right? So this is using kudos when you're giving props. Let's say Lisa, great job on the webinar, for example, and then hashtag networking, and someone else comments hashtag networking. So the frequency of that trend, similar to Twitter, how it uses hashtags to see the following trends on the conversations. You could do the same thing. You could use that even using kudos, right? I've seen that used a lot. So as far as giving recommendations, right? Of course, this all has, certain industries are more compliant than others when it comes to this, but for the most part, think of your LinkedIn profile as representing you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So giving recommendations or receiving recommendations is great because recruiters and hiring managers read recommendations, right? And also any great feedback from vendors that want to work with you in the future, they'll look at your recommendations, similar to how Yelp has recommendations on restaurants and products and services, you could consider that or look at that there, right? Then is great feedback from, you could get great feedback from former instructors or colleagues because they could endorse that you're a team player, you're great when it comes to a specific skill set. And it also assists promote your particular brand, right? So these are some of the reasons why, as long as it's compliant friendly, you should always, give and also receive recommendations, right? So this is just an example of my recommendations received versus given. As you can see, if you go to my profile live, you're able to see some of the things that people have said about me positively in the past. Just keep in mind that whenever you get recommendations, just be mindful that you should ensure of every grammatical errors, because as you know, just like a paper or my book, if I didn't check for grammatical errors, it just makes it look unprofessional. So keep that in mind, okay? Endorsements is similar to keywords on the resume or keywords when it's being scanned, your resume. So you could have specific, remember, I forgot the limit, I think it's like 99. You could actually add a little quiz here, but you could put some of your top skills. In my case, because of my experience from Berkeley College prior to being here, prior to being an independent business owner, there's recruiting, there's leadership, there's career coaching, and as you can tell on the next page, I have experience in event planning, social networking, marketing, business development, strategic planning. So basically, if someone, and the reason why it's important to add the endorsements is because if someone wanted to hire me for a specific task when it comes to marketing strategy, people could just type marketing strategy and my name will come up, right? So it's about what? It's about the profile views. In order to get profile views similar to a resume, in order to get bites, it's important for you to add the endorsements to your LinkedIn profile. So why comment on posts is important, right? So the big difference between commenting and sharing a post, right? So when you like, you're just passing along an automatic approval. With a share, you have the ability to write your own comment and be able to tailor it to your audience. Just the difference between liking, just straight up liking, and sharing it with a message, right? And depending on the relationships, you make the connection, the conversations, and stay in touch with your connections. A great way for you to keep your community or your network engaged, right? So this is why it's important as far as the kudos and the posting. So LinkedIn is about algorithm, and there's two goals. It prioritizes content as far as what's the latest trends, and as far as conversations, and it promotes engagement. And relevancy trumps recency. So it's not just about who's posted it recently, it's who posted the content that's relevant to today's topic. Hashtag networking, so if you hashtag that, this will probably come up. Or if you hashtag, let's say, COVID-19, there's a lot. It all depends on relevancy trumps recency. That was a saying that I kept forgetting. And as far as ranking signals for the LinkedIn algorithm is about three things, right? One, personal connections, right? Your personal connections. Two, the relevance as far as interest. And three is the engagement probability. What is the engagement probability that this conversation or this particular post is going to continue to live on through the hashtag and through the different conversations on LinkedIn. So this is the significance as far as profile views and as far as commenting, as far as kudos and all that. It's all about this. It's all about the algorithms, about prioritizing your content and also promoting engagement. So that's why I wanted to drive home that point. An example of a post, sharing versus straight up liking. So the next thing I wanted to discuss with you guys is video messaging from LinkedIn, which someone earlier, when I did this presentation earlier, they were like, hey, is it free? I think I did one video messaging. I believe it's free. But basically, there's a full disclaimer. I don't want everyone doing a selfie and doing this messaging as far as recruiters. A lot more recruiters now are using video messaging for LinkedIn app, right? So full disclaimer, you definitely should prepare for this, and this should be as rehearsed as possible with a tripod, with a deck. And why do you think I say that? Full disclosure. Why do you think I say that? Can anyone, you kind of chime in the box, or you could also unmute yourselves just for a second. Why do you think I say that? All right, no volunteers. It's okay. Yes, and I say that because God forbid you don't have something rehearsed.
I'm sorry, doctor. I had to unmute them. They can't unmute themselves. I just did. Everyone is in.
Okay, cool. Okay, no problem. Does anybody want to anyone want to chime in as far as why it's important? Want to answer my question? No, it's all right, Terrance. No problem. They're shy. It's okay. All right. No, at the end of the day, it's important, right? So you have to be as professional as possible. I'll answer all the questions at the end. It's the reason to use LinkedIn messaging is you could follow up with prospects. A lot of individuals in the recruiting space use this. You could introduce teams this way. If you have your own business or side gig, you could always also be able to do demonstrations using LinkedIn, client testimonials. You can send them this way. A lot of recruiters also use this as far as connecting with various prospects. And even if you wanted to, it's just a different vehicle for you to connect with alumni, which we'll get into in a few minutes, which I really will. I can't wait to share that with you guys. Connect with alum or connect with various individuals for those in the job market looking for connecting with recruiters, or those who are already in business and try to connect decision makers in order to connect with you there, right? So tips as far as LinkedIn messaging, script is very helpful. You don't want to wing it. If you wing it, you're going to forget different things and stumble across different words. Please make sure that you know the prospect's name or the recruiter's name, their company name, and also their website. Have any data on their organization, the vision, the mission, the values, things of that nature. And you should take the doubt out of them, right? So answer the top questions for interviewers that they would ask in advance, as far as tell them about yourself in about 30 seconds or less. Tell them about yourself and be able to give them that opportunity to reply back. This will be good for me, and I'm going to start using this more, for example, because I'm looking to connect with other schools and other chamber of commerces, when it comes to speaking more, whether it's about, stuff on the financial end or even stuff about networking. And, a lot of times I could say I do that, or I wrote a book, that's great, but they like to see the individual. For me in particular, this is going to be a home run in the weeks to come, for sure. Just another added tip for you to connect with individuals on LinkedIn. So this is where I wanted to get into, right? So basically, I use LIU because that's where I got my MBA from. So for example, you could go on to the Bloomfield College, let's say alumni page, for example, and then you could type in, let's just say hypothetically, I'm in the security field and I wanted to connect with the director of security. So I would type with director of security here, where they live, and then where they work, right? So basically, I could have a targeted search to connect with the alum, and that way I could either A, do business with them, or B, be able to somehow get an opportunity for informational interview, right? So highly recommend that you leverage your alumni network because you're able to, one, expand your network. B, individuals love, I'm going to take a step back. If you remember from presentation, my on-site presentation a couple of months ago, I talk about the Formea method, right? Family, occupation, recreation, motivation, education, and also achievements, right? So education, you have that common ground that, hey, you guys both went to Bloomfield College, both took some of the same professors, and you established a common ground or common bond as far as creating that relationship, and he or she could help you as far as get that job or speak to the right person when it comes to your network. So think about that. Leverage your alumni network, and you could always do search by a president or VP or whoever title you're trying to connect with. You could check where they live and then where they work, and then from there, you can send them a message. And this is what I would do if I was you, especially for those in the job market. I would do this as far as being able to connect with the alum, right? So, hi, my name is Lisa. I'm a senior accounting major at Bloomfield College. Found your contact information in my office. I'd love to connect with you for a couple of minutes over, I guess at this point, a virtual cup of coffee, hear what you do on a daily basis, and what's it like to work in your field. I've attached a copy of my resume, so you have a frame of reference about my experience and education. So look, you're not too salesy. What you're doing here is you notice you're giving them prompts, right? You're patting them on the back or her in the back, understanding that you want to get to where that person is at. Not inclusive, not intrusive. You're just trying to sit with them for a 20-minute conversation, right? And trust me, that conversation 9 times out of 10, it should go really well, and then that individual will be able to connect you with other individuals either in the organization or other individuals in the industry, and that is just an opportunity for you to have an additional resource and leveraging your alumni network in order to get to where you got to get. Very important. I believe Lisa is going to share this deck, and if not, you could always reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share this presentation, and you verbiage or the verbiage that I gave you earlier. Those are my two big tips when it comes to leveraging your alumni. Okay. An example also what you should be doing, for those of you who are in event planning, just brand new with LinkedIn, you can kind of do events, add events similar to Facebook as well. You go to the lower left hand side here, and you could add the event here, who's the organizer, right? You could also, add the Eventbrite link here, date and time, and all that, etc., and then create the event. I've seen this done with the North Jersey Chamber. So what they do is they'll create the event, it'll be sent out, and if you accept, they have you down as someone who's attending the event. You could definitely leverage this, especially for someone like me who I just started using Facebook recently, but I have over 10,000 connections on LinkedIn. So I have an idea of starting a networking group here on LinkedIn. So now I could do an event on a weekly basis at a certain time, and I'll be able to use that link and create that actual network. For me to expand my network and connect with other business owners, for example, on a weekly basis through some sort of similar to like a mastermind, right? So how to create the events on LinkedIn. To create the event on LinkedIn, like I said, you go to the home page, left rail, as I just showed you, and in a pop-up window, you click create, and that's it, okay? So basically, another thing I wanted to get into when I did this presentation that I really didn't highlight on Saturday, but I'm highlighting today, is the groups, right? Definitely participate in the groups for Bloomfield College, because you'll be able to connect with other individuals and other alum regarding various topics, right? And as you make those connections on various topics, right, participate in the discussions, and then you could connect with them on LinkedIn as a connection. Say, hey, we're both alum, and I kind of love what you said. We'd love to connect with you over a virtual cup of coffee. Boom, use that same verbiage that I gave you just now, and right then and there's another opportunity to connect with of the Bloomfield College alumni, right? The same thing could be said as far as, it's not on this presentation, but definitely, like, as you know, I'm part of Prosponica and I'm part of a few other organizations. Definitely another way for you to expand your network, especially for those of you in school or recently out of school, is definitely think about some of the trade organizations that you should be a part of. Like, for example, if you're in the security space and looking to get into the physical space and get into alarms and get into guard service and the operations side and security, definitely join ASIS, right? If you're in human resources, definitely get into SHRM, right? Society for Human Resource Management, right? If you're into nursing, there's like the National Hispanic Nurses. If you're into accounting, there's a National Association for Black Accountants. MBA, you could do Prosponica or a National Black MBA. But the moral of the story is definitely similar to what I just mentioned in my slide on back in February. Definitely join some of these groups, and most importantly, be able to face and attend these events, and even if you have the time, even volunteer from time to time, join a committee. It's a great opportunity for them to see your working skills, and you could also add that on the resume. You add it on the resume saying how you're part of this organization with over 100,000 members, for example, and instead of just sitting at home playing Xbox per se, virtually you could join these organizations, join the committees, and be able to give back to the community, but also build your skills, right? I'll give you a case in point. Prosponica, prior to being the EVP, I was a treasurer, right? Of course, owning my own business, I have to understand accounting and books, but treasury, I didn't know anything about treasury, but that I was able to sharpen my project management skills and my Excel skills, and now, that's just another skill that I didn't have before that unfortunately I never really needed in my previous company, right? But now I need it now as a small business owner, and now I need it now, even if I was to re-enter the workforce, per se, at least now I could say I understand importantly the numbers when it comes to that. So highly recommend you join the groups and highly recommend you join organizations tailored to your major and participate in the group discussions, not just on LinkedIn, but be involved, get involved, build your resume, and that's just another opportunity for you to expand your network, okay? And then you could always leverage that down the future. I've leveraged that also my entire career, even up to this point, when it comes to either, some sort of interview and or when it comes to for future business. Okay. So how to find or add groups? Just a simple way for you to add groups. You would go to the top work icon in the upper right hand corner, scroll down, and then search your notes. Right. So as far as thought leadership, I wanted to leave you guys with this, and I wanted to get into my quick summary. Right, is your ask offer ratio. Right. So so I always, not just about referrals received, because I love helping people, so not just about referrals received, but it's about referrals given, right? And how can I give back? I'm giving back tonight, right? I'm giving back via this webinar, right? I'm doing this pro bono. I'm not getting paid per se, right? But at the end of the day, it's about giving back to the community and helping you guys out. If I can make impact on one person, and then later on the line, you guys want to, hire me for your services, that'll be great. But it's all about thought leadership, and being able to give back to the community, whether it's via webinar or Zoom or virtual, whatever the case may be. It's about solving a problem for the individual. It's not necessarily about making a profit per se. That comes naturally, but it's all about, think about thought leadership. I wanted to give you guys something to think about there. So here's your action plan. Definitely ensure you have a professional headshot. Of course, right now it's very challenging because of what's going on with the social distancing. You could just do a picture behind a bare wall. You could do that. Summary is important, which I'll get into that in a minute. Make sure you revise your experience. Your volunteer information should be up to date. Whether it's, if you've done any walks or give back to the community, definitely do that. Comment and share posts, but also be strategic about it. You don't want to oversaturate the market yourself. You want to be able to be strategic about that. Give kudos once in a while. That all has to do with the algorithms, depending on the topic, depending on who it is. You'll be able to get profile views, right? Because you want to get profile views for two reasons, right? You want people to do business with you, and or if you're looking for a job, that's exactly who you want. You want recruiters with eyeballs on your profile, right? Endorse what you can. Ask and receive recommendations, right? Participate in alumni groups, alumni group page, and also one I'm adding on there is volunteer, professionally volunteer. It's helped me a lot. For those, for you to with Prosponica, definitely it's helped me out 100% with ASIS, and Lisa could attest to that, right? So those are some things, some takeaways that I think you should definitely do, right? And a little bit about my summary here. So I got this from a seminar last year over the fall. So a little bit of, you get your summary, you've seen a lot of summaries and I've heard different versions about the summary, but I think it's the best way to do it. The best way to do it is you have your overview here, right? Then you have your about me here, your services here. Of course, that's, I'm a little egotistical purchasing the book there, and then the contact information is there, right? So basically the first one is the overview is, how did you get to where you're at today, right? So I have over 15 years of experience managing people, responsible for 200 plus events, and I have my educational background and of course the philosophies from what I learned in school, and then now I'm a business owner, and then I help individuals do that, right? So I'm giving a quick story in one paragraph of how did I get to where I was going to get at, right? And then about me, I'm very personable, I'm very open about it, that I love MMA. I was happy to see UFC on live weekend, but big Giants fan, don't judge, Mets fan, and I like wrestling. I know it's predetermined, but I like it. And I write it that I am a bestseller for my book. And then the services I have listed as there, and then where to purchase my book, either there or Amazon, and then contact information is so important here. I just got these symbols from LinkedIn, but it's so important for you from a contact information standpoint, if you want to be contacted, that's how they should contact you, right? Whether you're trying to sell to other business owners, B2B or B2C, or I guess you could use the other module when it comes to contacting information for at least by email, right? Cool. So quick cheap plug as far as my book, obviously networkingwaytosuccess.com and or on Amazon. It's available now. Highly recommend you pick it up. I know the school picked up a few copies, so thank you very much there. Hey, for tonight only, now I'm only kidding. You could always, through this link here, always schedule a free 15-minute discovery call with me. I would love to help you out. in any way, shape, or form. And I have over a decade, probably even a little bit more than that now, of experience in higher ed. And trust me, I've been through a lot, trial and error wise, and I could always, so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. If I could go back in time and tell myself, hey, Jairo, how should I, how should I fast track my way to success? Definitely join those organizations professionally and definitely network early. Your school also should have different clubs for those of your current students, and if you're out of school, definitely join some of those professional organizations. Okay. All right. So, any questions? I kind of went somewhat fast. I don't, maybe not. It was all pictures, but I was happy that I was able to allot a couple of minutes for Q&A. I had a very good Q&A earlier, and I suppose I see the chat. There's a couple of questions now. So I wanted to thank you very much, and I really appreciate your timing. Thank you very much. Is there any questions, Terrance? Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for the great presentation. Do we have any questions, Terrance? Does anyone have any questions?
I'm checking the chat. There's no questions in the Q&A.
There's in the chat though. How did I get into higher ed? There's one that popped up. It was a serendipity. I was in financial services in my first run, and I didn't like where I was going. I kind of fell back and forth. There was an opening in financial aid. I wound up taking it. I wound up liking it. One financial aid advisement, but then I wasn't feeling advising. I left, but then I started teaching, and that's how I, kind of reignited my passion. And from there, once I got enrolled at Walden, I was like, you know what? I could always wrap up a doctorate, but I always have that itch for entrepreneurship. So I did it. Flexibility, because I could always go back into higher ed for a full-time capacity, or even teach 10 years on the road. So it gives me a lot of flexibility. So that's how I got into higher ed, and I've kind of split it to an extent, like to teach part-time. So all good. So thank you. Great question.
Doctor, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Terrance. I have a question from a student. Go ahead.
Okay, and then I'll do the one from Facebook. You go first.
Okay. The question I have from one student, do you think it's best to join the organization before or after graduating? For example, SHRM. I believe before, but.
Before, no, I agree with you. You should join before. You shouldn't wait till after graduation. Build those relationships now and make those connections now. Go to the monthly meetings. I guess now it'll be virtual, and build the connections now, so that by the time you get closer to graduation or even post-graduation, you already have those relationships and leverage those in place, for sure.
And the good thing about that is that there's student rates. Yeah. Every organization has a student rate discounted. Correct. Where it's minimum $25 all the way up to $100 for the entire year.
Correct. And it's great. A lot of them have free resources, free articles and magazines and things of that nature. So I highly recommend it. Recommend you join. Yes, joining organizations leads to jobs. Absolutely. Because again, it's about making those connections and leveraging those connections in order to get in front of the right people, right? Or get your resume and cover letter in front of the right people, for sure.
So Michelle from Facebook wanted to know, what's your opinions on the paid versus not paid services associated with LinkedIn?
Yeah, they have LinkedIn Premium. Like for me, I had it for a couple of months as a trial. It really didn't help me out. It was great that I could see who could view my profile, but it really didn't help me out. I really think that the strategy that I shared with you in the first couple of slides, I think that's a better way for me to connect with people. Thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. So the Sales Navigator, which I tried that, which it really didn't work for me either. I could probably do the same thing if I connect with my alum and check by the job title and connect with people that way. So it's up to you. I mean, I tried it. Didn't work for me. It may work for you, but I would say, if you could get away with it, stay away from that and actually leverage your alum. I'm keeping plugging Bloomfield College Alumni Association.
I would have to agree. The purpose of having a premium account is really to see who's viewing you, if that's really what you care about. Right. But if you can maneuver with the strategies that Jairo did, joining all the organizations under Bloomfield College, under LinkedIn, connecting with the alumni that way, it'll be more beneficial to you. Exactly. Rather than paying. The basic account has done wonders for me, and I've served as a career advisor all the way to a director.
Right,
and it's
exactly.
been perfectly, good for me.
Exactly.
Any other question? I have a question. If after Terrance asks this next question.
Sure, go ahead, Terrance.
You go first. We can alternate back and forth. We have
Sure.
2 so far in the queue on Facebook. I'm going back and forth.
Okay, awesome. My question, because I do believe I have a student on here who's a senior and he is in finance. Can you recommend some organizations that he can join under finance as a financial major?
What it's just regular finance or financial services? Do you know the specifics?
Jeremy, if he's still on here and he can respond. Jeremy, if I believe he is financial services, but he can correct me if he wants to respond back.
No, there's a lot of organizations. You have the NABA.
NABA, you said?
Yeah, National Association of Black Accountants. I know it's accountants, but that's definitely in that financial space. Alpha is also good. Association of Latino Professional. I need to be financial as well, but it's for America now. Alpha. Yeah, ALPFA. It's okay. And then Prosponica is pretty good because we have a strong base when it comes to, not to plug, but I am plugging. Prosponica, we have a lot of connections with Prudential. If you want to get into that, I could put you in touch personally if you want to get into that financial service space. And we have a great program at Primary Financial. More than happy to connect you with my colleague who's the senior partner. So for sure. Yep.
So this one is about advisement to, I guess, younger and growing professionals who may be transitioning or needing to transition from social media sites such as Facebook and Instagram. The do's and don'ts in terms of LinkedIn, utilizing LinkedIn for those that this is their first time and the only social media engagement that they've used have been sites like Facebook, for example.
I'm not going to get too much into that, but I am going to get a do's and don'ts of just make sure you have a professional headshot. Just be mindful that LinkedIn is for professional. I call it the professional Facebook. So you don't have to post everything about like what you did on a Friday night or Saturday night. Just remember to always keep it professional. Similar to what I just mentioned as far as your action plan. Make sure your summary is up to speed. Make sure your experience is up to speed, and make sure similar to a resume. If you're currently working on the position, is present tense. Obviously, if you're not working there anymore, just make sure you add ed in and make sure your verbiage is past tense, right? Also, your skills or any volunteer information, please add it on there, and any recommendations, make sure you add it on there as well, and just do participate in the groups, and don't leave you so short-handed. So for sure. And Facebook is I know Facebook is more casual, but you have to be mindful just of what you post and where you post, because let's just say if I was Googling yourself, Terrance, right, for a position, and if I happen to look up Instagram or Facebook and I see you chugging a keg, that's not professional, right? So just be so to be mindful as far as what you post on all social media. Think about it as representation, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you. So for sure.
The next question actually was about a headshot. So they wanted to know, I guess it's 2 parts. One is, should they get it professionally done, meaning I guess go to a professional photographer, or they're asking for recommendations for even using your own phone?
In the short term, definitely you're gonna have to use your own phone because of social distancing. God forbid you don't want contract anything, but in the long term, I highly recommend a professional headshot for sure. Lisa knows, my good friend Mark Thompson does those, and he could give you a good rate as well. And Lisa, I'm pretty sure you know people as well, so for sure, I definitely long term recommend a headshot. I'm pretty sure you could get that at a good rate. Right, Lisa?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, my friend
we can
Mark.
use some of our students. I'm quite sure we have some of our students in our journalism, broadcast journalism, film, photography. We can get some students to take some shots of us.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Lisa, there's 2 questions in the question and
Yes.
answer box.
Sure. So the next one is coming actually from one of our staff members.
Okay. Hello, staff.
His name is Sergey. He also said that he is your neighbor. He lives in Linden as well. Sergey.
Oh, there you go. You gotta come visit me. How you doing?
So his question to you is, I was in law enforcement for 6 years before coming over to higher education. I found my first internship on LinkedIn with Metropolitan College of New York. I tell my students to join LinkedIn so they can network with professionals and alumni. How do I convince my students to join LinkedIn? That's from Sergey, and then I have another question from another student. Two questions from another student.
No, definitely encourage them to join LinkedIn and what we love to hear. Share those success stories. All right. I'll give you a case in point. Another success story with me. One of my adjunct roles, I just connected with the chair. We hit it off really well. She says, "Hey, you know what? We're hiring for this role. Come in and do a demo lesson." I was like, "Okay, great." I mean, I've had a lot of experience, so I did a demo lesson on marketing. And next thing you know, I'm teaching online at ASA College. So, yeah. So to share those stories. People love to connect with individuals based off stories, and then keep it basic. Just keep it. You don't have to be as sophisticated with all this joining the 50 groups at the gate, or you don't worry about the number of connections. Don't worry about that. For now, keep it basic. Just encourage your students to join LinkedIn and just make sure you have the headshot, make sure you have the basic information in place, make sure you have the experience in place, the skills in place, the recommendations. That all takes time. It took me, I've had LinkedIn for a long time, close to a decade, right? At least. So that takes time. Everything takes time. Just think about it as a long-term game. But for now, keep it basic. Just, and to open up their profiles, and just and fill out the basic information. And later on, you'll build that. That'll all happen organically as long as they do the work, connecting to the alumni, connecting to the specific organizations. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Terrance, you have one for Facebook?
None from Facebook. You want to do Star's question?
Sure. So
Star?
I want to give a shout out to Star. She's one
Yeah.
of our top students that participates in everything that we do.
Yes, she does.
Not to
Go Star.
mention that she also works for the Center for Career Development.
Yay.
Yes. But her question is, once this pandemic is over, do you think that LinkedIn will still be the top platform for job hunting?
I think so. I think once we get to somewhat normalcy, I think it'll still be the top platform because it's still the number one when it comes to like the Facebook for professionals. If anything, you still got to pay attention and keep the headshot, keep your experience at hand, the information, share it. Or if you're at events that are relevant, and if you don't promote yourself, your services, definitely keep sharing it. So I think to answer your question, I'm confident LinkedIn will still be the forefront when it comes to job hunting. LinkedIn and also Indeed is a good one for those of you who don't use Indeed, and LinkedIn Indeed is another great source as well.
Indeed is I think how I found my job at Bloomfield.
There you go. You see?
You know what? And I want to say the same thing.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You see?
Indeed is how I found my job at Bloomfield too.
I do not get paid by Indeed, by the way, to say that. So there you go.
We have another question from Facebook, and we want to give a big shout out to Nicole. I won't say her last name because she did share it on Facebook as well, so we appreciate that.
Sure.
She said, great tip from before.
Thank you.
And she wanted to know, do you recommend reaching out to people outside of your network? If so, how?
Yes, I agree with. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for that question. Similar to my first few slides, to the second level connection, meaning that you may not have a direct connection, but you know someone that does. Mm-hmm. If you follow that first slide, which you could more than happy to share in my deck, it has the exact instructions of how to do that. Hi, thank you for connecting with me. I checked out your profile. There's someone that you know that I'm not connected with. Can you make that introduction? And you use that second part. It's very easy for you to make that connection. So I highly recommend that, yes, to kind of expand your network that way. So hopefully that answers your question. It's very easy. It's there. The information is already there for you to do.
Good. We have also attending this webinar is one of our great professors, Nancy Fisher. And just to circle, you met her doing.
Yeah, I remember.
Just to circle back to what we said about photographers, she wanted to mention that the center, our CAT department, has great photographers that would be able to take some great headshots for our Bloomfield College students.
Lisa, I was just saying to Nancy, I think that would be a great collaboration.
Absolutely.
I want to do the same thing for student leadership. I want to start doing their headshots. I want students who walk around the campus to see themselves, not people from maybe 10 years ago, which we love them too. But having current students be able to see each other, I think is great. So maybe follow up on that.
We definitely should. I wanted to, before the pandemic broke out, I did want to have LinkedIn Day.
That would be great.
So we're definitely going to work on that.
Yes.
Maybe we can get some branding material on campus, you think?
Yes, absolutely.
I know how you think. How do you define professionalism? It's a term that's thrown around often, and then everyone seems to have different standards for it. What's your feedback on that, Doctor?
Oh, that's such a no, I'll give you, I'll try to give you the answer the best way I can. What I define professionalism is just, if you keep it just from LinkedIn, is just a professional headshot, or at least somewhat of a decent headshot. And what I mean by professionalism, you're not posting, I try to stay away, and I don't want to steer in the direction. I try to stay away from politics, and I try to stay away from religion. So if you kind of stay away from those two things, for me, I mean, that's me, my personal opinion. I try to just keep it straight business, straight informational, or straight tip, or straight resources. That's what I mean by keep it professional, and that's what I mean by professionalism. Just keep it to business, keep it to specific topics, and again, once again, your experience up to speed, your endorsements, your skills up to speed, and your recommendations up to speed. That's my definition on LinkedIn. Yes, I love LinkedIn as well. That's my definition of professionalism. That's my definition. Cool. This is good.
Nancy, Professor Nancy Fisher also wanted to say this is a great webinar.
Thank you, Nancy.
I would love to see more of these. So thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
So this is Sarah. Sarah says that she tries to treat social media or LinkedIn, she understands the professionalism piece like work, and she doesn't like to say, I guess she's saying like dating people at work. What is your response to people that try to date you on LinkedIn? How should you respond to that? And she says it also kind of makes her uncomfortable because she doesn't know if she doesn't respond, if it can lose a connection.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've never experienced that. So I never did. So, fortunately, I never experienced that. I would just, not respond. I guess I believe you should be able to report that individual. You should be able to block that person as well. So I would definitely do that. Those are my tips. Lisa, you want to add to that?
I do want to say what you can do is simply you can block the individual immediately and you can report them.
Yep.
I've had that happen, and those are the two things that you do. You first report and then you block.
Yep. Exactly.
They said thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions? This is good. This is fun.
I don't think we have any other questions. Terrance, anything on Facebook?
No more questions as of now.
Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Terrance, I think that ends our webinar.
Well, ironically enough, we're just at the 7 o'clock hour, so it's been just about 55 minutes or so of the program, and so we want to thank our featured guest for his time, and we know he'll be back and on campus, and definitely we appreciate the pro bono services, and we also appreciate supporting entrepreneurs. And so when opportunities come up, whether it's for professional development for our student leaders or not, the Center for Student Leadership and Engagement will remember this gesture for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's important to pay people for their talent as well, especially entrepreneurs. And I'm sure Lisa would agree. I want to, on behalf of the president and our student leaders, Bloomfield College Student Government, we thank you. We thank those that tuned in today. We also want to thank Patrick and really the whole Innovative Management and Alumni Office team, VP Sarah, Nicole, big thank you for sharing this information with the Alumni Circle. We're going to also ask that the YouTube link, which we'll do a premiere for this one as well, Lisa. The YouTube link can be shared with the Alumni Association. So for those that could not, and even in quarantine, step in but can benefit from this information, will be able to watch this at their leisure.
Absolutely. And for one last thing, just so you know, we did purchase 3 books in our public library, in our Bloomfield College library. So once we're able to go back on campus, Dr. Jairo's book is available at the Bloomfield College library.
Yay, appreciate it.
All right.
You guys, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate
it. Appreciate everyone's time.
We're going to be sending gifts to our student government leaders, so maybe we should include a book. I think that'll be great.
Awesome.
Lisa, I'll connect with you on how I can purchase some, okay?
Absolutely.
Good.
Awesome.
Please do.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you. All righty. Take care, everybody. Take care. Have a good night. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.